Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to B Sports Picks. I'm going to hook you guys up with play in basketball. Yesterday we had said that I was going to stay away from the Bills game, and I explained why. I also said that if I was forced to take something, I would take the Bills on the money line or the Texans at the plus 7.5. The Texans ended up winning the game straight up. That's why I said stay away from them, because the Texans have number 2 defense and the Bills suck on the road. So I explained all that. Luckily, I stayed away from it. I didn't touch it. The Bills have burned me all season. A couple of times this season and a couple of times last season. So that's another reason I stayed away. But I actually have a couple of plays that I wanted to go through. A couple of information here real quick. And I also shared a few props for PRAs and for shots on goal. So those all hit, except for one guy. I'm going to explain which guy didn't hit and why he didn't hit. And then the over-under was looking excellent. And then at the end, they ended up tying the game. So then they ended up going into overtime. So they killed it. So anyways, here we go. So this is one of the ones I shared. This was Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner to get PRAs. Came through. Then we had another Zubac and Green. I also shared those two on yesterday's live or yesterday's video. That came through. And then we had this on the VIP, the shots on goal, that came through. And then another Tyrese Maxey. I actually gave this one away as well. And then this one I did as a test. I did the Grizzlies on the -3. You can see they won right there by 44 points or something like that. And then the Hawks on the over. So these were 2 tests that I was doing. And I'm going to explain what that was. But also the reason that one of the props didn't hit was because the Grizzlies were winning by so much that they ended up sitting out. They ended up sitting, what's his name? Malik Monk. So he only played 14 minutes because, like I said, they were getting blown out. And they were getting blown out, so they sat out Malik Monk. Anyways, he didn't get a hit because of that. Now, the over-unders, the one that I go away yesterday, did not hit because, like I said, they went into overtime right here. Even with the overtime, they only went over by 7 points. So if they wouldn't have went in the overtime, that would have hit for us. Yeah, I know, man. It definitely was a shitty thing for it to happen. But you know what? That actually just to show and prove that we're on the right track. So we just got to keep going, because if that would have went into overtime, that would have been an easy win. So these over-unders have been amazing so far. And like I said, the other thing that sucked is that these guys got blown out. So Malik Monk sat out. So that ruined the other parlay that I had for Paul George and Malik Monk. So those 2 plays were the only ones that didn't hit. And then I just shared all the ones that did hit. So, again, I was doing tests here for, PRAs, another PRA, another shots on goal, PRA. And then I did 2 line move plays. So, anyways, let's get going here. I do like one play in the NBA. I don't like too much more than that. So anyways, let me just explain really quickly. This is just a line move. I explain these pretty much every day, but this came in my email now. I'm getting these every day now, my email, from a scraper that I have. And it's telling me literally, it says to play the Grizzlies at a -3.5. And it's literally just the line moves. So it's telling me that the favorite, which is the Grizzlies, this is yesterday's, by the way, but I'm telling you how I'm coming up with this stuff. So the Grizzlies started at a -2. It went up to a -3. And again, I was not even looking at the Grizzlies at all. And then I had this email come in, and I'm actually setting up these scrapers to send me emails now. So anyways, the favorite, which is the Grizzlies, started at a 39% bet percentage, 61%, 39% of the bets, 37% of the money was coming in on the Grizzlies, yet the line was moving 1.5 points. So anyways, what this means is it triggered the line to be considered a sharp money line. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, I took the Grizzlies at a -3. They ended up winning by 44. Now, this other thing that sucks about sports betting, I'm going to be straight up with you, man. Once we start winning, these fucking books start hating on us. So, for example, I went to place my bet today. I had Markkanen. I like 29 or 28.5. I went to place my bet, and they said, nope, we're not taking your bet. If you want, we'll take the $13. So that's one thing, and the problem with this one is that I've already been banned from this book before, which is Fanatics. So now they're taking smaller bets, and I was doing $50 nicely, But now they're just like, nope, we're not even taking the $50 anymore. We'll take the 13. So this is one of the things that's really sucks about sports betting, is that if you don't have access to a lot of books and then you get banned or you start winning, then they hate on you. So that's what it is. We just got to keep moving forward. So now I'm going to hook you guys up with a play. There's actually 3 teams that are very lopsided today. 3 games. They're super lopsided, and I've been complaining to the NBA for years that these games are not interesting because they're so lopsided. And I'm going to explain what that is real quick. But what you can do in these super lopsided games is use these teams as parlay pieces. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to explain when I get there. But let me show you what this is. This is another scraper that I'm going to start getting every morning. And it's telling me here, for example, right here is telling me the Nuggets and the Rockets. The line started at 230 and now it's 234. 88% of the bets is coming in on the over, and the line is going on the over. That's the reason you see this little diamond piece right here. So it's telling you this is a strong play. These are, again, don't quote me on these, but this is telling you that this is a strong lean because the line is shifting, the money is shifting, the bet percentages and all that stuff is matching. Okay, so this is not a sharp play. This is more of a public steam play. Another one is the Thunder. So check this out. The Thunder started at a 225. And they're actually at a 235 now. So this little green thing right here is telling you that went up almost 10 points. 85% of the bets, 83% of the money is coming in on the over. So this is a very strong lean on the over. But the line already has gone up way too high for it to make sense. So again, once you start seeing stuff like this, you can actually buy this back to the original line. And that's actually what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm playing it. These are not too much. This is only a 6-point move. This is a 2.5 move. These are just leans. I'm not touching these, but I'm definitely going to touch this one here, which I'm going to actually buy it back to a 225. And that brings it up all the way down to like a minus 250 for the odds. But I'm going to actually use a parlay piece from one of the lopsided games. So I hope this is making sense. If it doesn't, let me know. But let me start getting into this. So, for example, on the Cavaliers, one thing that stands out here, just so you know, is these orange or yellow things. So this is telling you not to go with this, or, you know, there's no indication of sharp money here. That's all this means. So just pay attention to this orange or yellow, whatever. And then this one over here, the red, same thing. There's no sharp money. And all this is the line reader, basically a line reader that I created that looks at all the public money, all the sharp money, and then looks at the line moves from the books and stuff like that. And it actually gives you analysis on what to look at. So another one here is the last one is all these, the lines are not making sense at all. And they're super heavily favored. Here's the injuries. I'm not going to get into all the details. Here's the injuries for these 3 games, which are the lopsided games. So you got Toronto, which is a super lopsided game. I think the line is at minus 14.5. And then you got Cleveland, which went from I have all the numbers here. I'm not going to try to read them right now, but all the numbers are here. Just know that these 3 teams or 3 games are super heavily lopsided. Toronto is super heavily favored against Washington. Cleveland is super heavily favored against Indiana. And there's reasoning behind that because of all the injuries and stuff. But there's other reasoning even besides that. And then you got Boston versus Brooklyn. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we actually took Boston earlier this week at a minus 9.5 against Brooklyn themselves. And we ended up winning. So I can't remember if it was this week or last week. But anyways, so again, these are the 3 indications again. Cavaliers to win over the Pacers. This is a 90% probability. You got the Raptors against the Wizards. You got a 93 probability, 93% chance. And then OKC is the top team right now, just like last year. And they're 94% chance to win. So again, what I'm doing right now, you can do one of 3 things. I don't like doing 3-leg parlays, but what you can literally do is get the Boston money line, Cleveland money line, and Toronto money line. I'm not doing that. What I'm going to do instead is I took the heaviest one, which is Cleveland. And I'm taking Cleveland money line, and then I'm taking the Thunder and the Jazz over 225. So that's going to be the play for today, guys, is the over 225 on the Thunder and the Jazz, and then I'm taking the money line on the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's what I did. Again, if you want to look at strong leans, or I'm sorry, super heavily favored things, is the Toronto, Cleveland, and Boston. So again, I'm not taking those. I'm not looking at those because of the line move. Doesn't make sense. No line move. There's no sharp money. It just doesn't make sense for them to be that heavily favored. You have to be covering spreads at a dramatic rate. It's very difficult to win a game by 20 points. So that's what I have, guys. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to kind of look through my notes real quick to see if anything else stands out. But the line did, just so you know, the line did shift so the Cavaliers, the line did shift 4 points. So that is somewhat to look at, something to consider. 55% of the bets, 56% of the money did come in for Cleveland. So that's the reason to Cleveland, because of the line move, the money, the sharp. And then on top of that, they're super heavily favored. And there's a lot of reasoning behind it. I'm not going to get into all those details, but I will tell you the Pacers on the road are 0-11. Overall record is 2-13, so they're just horrible. They got a lot of injuries, and then the 90% win probability. So I can keep going on and on and on, like paragraphs of stuff of every game. I'm not going to do that. But what I will tell you is that the Raptors, Cleveland, and Boston should win these games very easily. And I'm taking, like I said, the over on the 225 on the Thunder. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, if we get to, whenever I post this video, I'm going to have the editor edit this video. And if we hit 50 likes, I'll share the other. Let me see if I can take a screenshot. Give me a second. So here's what I shared this morning with the VIP. You had 4 shots on goal props, and then we had 5 points, rebounds, and assists on basketball. So I'm starting to get to the point now where I'm getting all my scrapers automatically send me the emails. I'm getting a bunch of stuff that's already filtered out. I'm starting to get a lot of automations going, and the person that helps me get this filtered out and cleaned up, it's giving me a lot more time to analyze exactly the winners instead of always just trying to pull the data information together. So now I'm saving a crap load of time overall to be able to place better bets. So if you guys are interested in that, you can check out the links in the description for VIP. Also, if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe and check out the free picks on the description. And if you want the 1 week pass, you can get all these plays plus all my NFL stuff for 1 week, and that'll go through Thursday Night Football of next week. All right, guys, thank you so much. I don't see any questions come through, so link is in the description. I appreciate you all. Let's have a great day. Thank you.